Welcome to the podcast where we bring on remarkable people to tell their stories.
I'm Paul Gilman.
I'm Daniel Lance.
And this is Pod So 1.
Our guest this week is Johnny Mickelinc, musician, quarterback, twin, jokester, and treasured friend. Johnny joins us to play a few tunes and to tell us about the first 25 years of his life, including the lessons he's learned and the people to whom he gives credit. It's a conversation that Paul and I thoroughly enjoyed, and we hope you do too. So here's Johnny.
Well, on the banjo there was the sharpest dressed, cleanest cut, music making, money raking gentleman you ever did meet, Mr. Johnny Mickelinc. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys. Well, I'm thrilled to be here, and I appreciate you being interested enough in what I got to say to make me feel interesting for an hour or so here.
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking forward to it. Where does your last name come from?
My last name is a Ellis Island bastardization of a Croatian name that would have sounded more like Mickelinc.
Okay. And so just the spelling just didn't nail it at Ellis Island.
Yeah, and the story goes that my ancestors that came from over there didn't know how to write, so they just kind of took the best crack at it that they could.
Okay, yeah, it is what it is.
Is what it is. Humble beginnings.
So do you think at some point when you pass it down, people are going to forget how to pronounce it and just say Mickelinc?
Well, I don't know. It's made it this long.
That's true.
I guess, well, I don't know, 2-3 generations.
Has anybody ever told you that you play the banjo as good as you look?
What does that mean?
I was going to say, I don't know how to take that. Is that an insult or what?
I think you should take it as a compliment.
Okay, thanks.
Absolutely a compliment.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Dan.
for those that can't see, it's an audio podcast, but Johnny is far outdressing Paul and I.
Yeah, Daniel and I are wearing jeans and like whatever we felt like throwing on that was comfortable, and Johnny is well dressed.
I'm just trying to show off.
Yeah, you look great, dude.
Thanks, man. It'll make up for my inferior intellect here.
Yeah, so you were born brother of a twin on April 5th, 1995.
5.
Okay.
Yes, sir. 25 years young.
So I think we should ask Johnny I think we should just start with our question.
Right there?
Yeah.
Hold on, fraternal or identical?
Fraternal.
Okay.
So how do you want to tee it up?
No, you got it.
All right, cool. You've heard other podcasts. So would you rather join the military or try to be a comedian?
That's an interesting question. I'm going to say military because when I was younger, my mom sort of lobbied for us to put some applications into officer programs. Naval Academy was what she had in mind.
Oh, really?
And, yes, sir. And I love America.
Hell yeah, dude.
And I'm not that funny, so.
You love America and you're not funny. It's
Yes, sir.
pretty straightforward answer.
You got it.
Navy, and it sounds like you'd be a Navy man.
I think so, and I think that my mom picked that one out specifically because she perceived the danger to be lower in the Navy than other branches. How true that is, I really have no idea.
I think it depends on what you do in the Navy versus what you do in the Army. Or
Yeah, well, I'm sure being an Army cook on a base is safer than being a Navy SEAL.
guaranteed, yes.
So.
Yeah.
But what's that you say about 10% of all people that put on a uniform?
Yeah, something like that. I could be off. It's a little bit dated, but yeah, out of everybody that's ever put on a uniform, regardless of service or branch, only 10% actually went to a combat.
Is that right?
Yeah.
No shit.
Plus or minus probably 5%.
Yeah.
It's a pretty wide band of...
Yeah, the military is quite the infrastructure. 5 to 15%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The point is it's not like 70%.
got it.
Right. And I think that there's a perceived level of risk that is a little bit overblown.
Especially the last 18 and a half years, right, or 19 years. We've been at war for a pretty long time.
Yeah.
For sure. So, Johnny, go ahead.
I was just going to say, my dad and granddad and, I guess a lot of other family members, my dad was Army, and he was in SIGINT, stationed in West Berlin during the Cold War, so he never saw combat, but he, I guess, has maybe some nail biters to tell you about.
I bet he's got some cool stories.
He does, and a lot of that is stuck in him now because he's had a stroke and his communication is not really there anymore. But I think he's told sufficient people that we could find it somewhere.
I met your dad.
You did?
Yeah.
You did. That's
Back
right.
in January, I think. January or February.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a good dude, and I love the fact that he served.
Yeah, well, and he loves the fact that you served.
Yeah, it's all good. It's a love fest.
It's a damn love fest.
Dude, you got his uniform up on your wall, too.
Yeah, him and Granddad. My granddad was Navy originally and then Air Force.
Nice. Very, very cool.
So
Johnny, you grew up in upstate New York, and upstate for people that are not from New York means basically not New York City.
Yes, and really I think to be more technical, you'd call the area that I grew up in southern tier of New York.
Okay.
So kind of near the Pennsylvania border, maybe 20 miles or so south of Ithaca.
Oh, okay. I know nothing about that part of New York.
It's country, man.
Lots of farms.
Yes, sir. My house was smack in the middle of a cornfield. Never knew what it was like to have a neighbor until moved with my mom to Baltimore.
You did. You turned 360 out on your front porch or in your front yard, and all you saw was corn.
Yeah, for the most part, yes, sir.
Wow.
Across the street, there was a house, but our driveway was long enough, and we had enough kind of land in front of the house that it didn't really make too much difference.
So when the corn was about ready to be harvested, you couldn't see much.
Oh, yeah, it was great. It was awesome, man. And, I mean, you could pee in your front yard and everything, and nobody, right off the damn porch.
I love it.
It was ideal.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
So
the house we're in now, this is the second one on the street, and I used to go in my backyard all the time. Now I have too many neighbors for such silly things.
And it's funny. I was talking to somebody recently about how men will generally, when faced with the choice of going to the bathroom, 3 steps away or going to drop water outside 5 steps away, we'll go outside.
5 steps every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's to be one with nature, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know what the psychology behind that is, but there's something there.
I understand it even without knowing why.
Yeah.
So how did you spend your time when you were like 8, 10, 12?
It's a good question. It was there was no neighborhood to go outside and go play with the other kids, so I was mostly with my brother and my dad. I guess he'd take us fishing or go golfing or take golfing lessons or a lot of time outside playing in the yard, whacking each other with sticks and shit. And when there were other kids around, it was because their moms or my mom would bring them over and stuff. So we did normal kid stuff. We rode our bikes, we dug around in the dirt and ate worms and whatever it is you do.
Did you disappear for like 10, 12 hours? Your parents didn't know where you were?
No, they kept pretty good track of us. My mom stayed home, so she was with us most of the time and made sure we weren't getting up to no good. There's some pitfalls to living out in the country. There's one time when we were maybe 5 years old or so, my brother got lost in the corn. So we got the cops on the horn and everything, and he probably wasn't going for more than 15 minutes, but it was
scary.
It was scary. Yeah. So it's not all. The world is not engineered to be safe for a kid, I guess, living in the country, I suppose.
Yeah.
Or anywhere else.
Did you play sports growing up?
Sure did. Longest running was football. I was a quarterback for around 10 years, I guess, from the time I was 8 till the time I was, I guess, maybe 17. I didn't play my last year in high school. Got a lot of the concussions, and my parents ultimately decided to pull me. But football, lacrosse, wrestling, and some dabbling in other things, baseball, soccer, whatever. But those were the big ones.
Football quarterback. You're not a tall guy.
Hell no, I ain't. And we did a lot of when there was passing to be done, I would roll. That was the big thing.
Get away from the tall guys on the line.
Sir.
Yeah,
that's right.
Does that mean? Just spin around and get?
It means get away from the line so he can see.
Run out to the side.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We can remind our listeners that Daniel grew up overseas.
It's like a pick and roll in basketball.
It's not like that. No.
It's not like that at all.
But it's kind of the concept is the same kind of where you get this guy stopping and then you go around in a big semicircle.
Well, pick and roll involves 2 people. Him rolling is just him rolling. There's not a second guy involved.
Okay,
Right.
It's okay. It's a path which you run. It's not necessarily like you're not actually because I'm envisioning you spinning around.
No. It's a path you run. You just kind of really the easiest way to think about it is running out to the side where there's no lineman standing there.
Yeah, so then you can get a throw off.
Yep.
Okay. What did you enjoy most about playing football, would you say?
I think the leadership aspect, I think I still draw on a lot today. And, being around, we had some unbelievably good coaches for such a small town. And, the team was small, so everybody got to play, and the short guy got to be the quarterback. And, the lessons about life that you take away from a sport like football, where it's there is such emphasis on the team, and everybody kind of has their specialized job that they need to do to make it successful. Was to this day absolutely indispensable. Yeah.
Yeah, I played football 8 to 18, and I loved it. I loved playing high school football. Sorry for the listeners who can't see what I've drawn here for Daniel, but I've basically drawn most of the offense here. That's Johnny there, getting the football from the center. Who's that? Oh, right there.
That's the guy that throws it between his legs.
Or hikes it, right.
Yeah, don't be weird about it, Daniel.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess a shotgun snap could be considered a throw, but this is a direct snap to the quarterback, and he would roll away from these tall guys here, these tall O's.
Okay.
And now he can see downfield to a receiver.
The receivers.
Yeah.
Very cool, yeah. And when you were talking about small town, it reminded me of this idea of it's cool that, the short guy can be the quarterback and everybody can have a role and contribute. With the whole world being opened up on the internet, you can instantly go and find somebody that's better at pretty much anything that you've ever tried or ever will try. Yeah. And so I think shrinking the scope to a small area makes it more accessible for somebody to contribute and actually pursue like their self-betterment at something instead of just being, looking and saying, this guy's so much better than I'll ever be, so I'm not even going to try.
So when Johnny came over here the first time, y'all were going to go see a bluegrass band.
Yeah, it was called Green Sky Bluegrass.
Yeah, Green Sky Bluegrass.
No, it was Sideline, wasn't it?
It was Sideline.
Oh, Sideline.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so my son and I were throwing football in the driveway, and I threw kind of a duck, and Johnny's first words to me were, nice toss. And now I understand it. He played high school football. There's a lot of smack talking that happens on a football team, especially when it's 16, 17, 18-year-old kids.
And for the record, I wasn't a big smack talker unless it was with amicably.
I was a massive smack talker, but you're a guest. We're not talking about me.
So
but what position did you play?
I played quarterback.
Did you?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yes.
Wow. So that's why you're talking shit about me being short.
And I didn't have to roll. I didn't have to roll out to see the receivers.
So you were just stewing all that whole time about me making fun of your throw.
No, not stewing at all. It did strike me. Like normally I'll banter, but I'll wait 5 minutes.
Yeah. I think you also mentioned something about him not being good enough to get into the Marines or something.
Yeah. Right, and that was like in the first minute and a half.
Yeah.
You got to be good to get in the Marines?
I think so. You have to be somewhat tough.
I don't think it's easy.
I said that.
Yeah, there are not many of them.
Oh.
The few, the proud.
Right.
Yeah, no, okay. I know what you're saying now. Yeah, that was. I think Daniel actually put me up to that though.
I primed Johnny. I was like, you got to come out the gate talking shit to Paul. There is no other way.
Yeah, but we're different now too. That was 5 months ago.
That's true. I had a very much more simplified view or perception of you.
Yes,
I think
I'm a giant gorilla.
I've introduced more nuance. Yeah.
Yeah, I have some nuance, more than maybe you thought. But anyway, Johnny, you didn't get to play your senior year.
Yes, sir.
And you said it was your parents' decision, which makes sense, right? You're a 17-year-old. 17-year-olds probably shouldn't make that decision, but it had to be a bummer.
That was a huge bummer, yeah. It was a huge disappointment.
So how many concussions did you have, at least that you know of?
That I know of, I guess I want to ballpark and say it was probably maybe 5 or 6.
It's a lot.
It's enough, yeah, enough to be worried about. So it was no more football and quote-unquote careful lacrosse.
Who was the primary force behind stopping you? Was it your mom or your dad?
I'd say that they were both pretty concerned. I think my mom maybe.
Okay.
For the most part, but my coach was very disappointed and actually called my parents and called me separately to talk about it. But they held the line.
Wow.
As they should. I mean, what we know today, concussions, especially repeated concussions in a short period of time, is not good for your long-term mental health or your physical health. Yeah,
and playing, essentially back-to-back football to lacrosse was, there's, I guess, just not a lot of time for, in high school, it's like you can feel like you can just do whatever the hell you want, but there's not a lot of time for your noggin to recover in that time, I guess.
Yeah, back when I played, back in the 80s, it was rub some dirt on it kind of thing. We didn't have a clue.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was an interesting time because we were kind of just starting to find out about all the CTE and everything, and people were starting to act weird. Getting older after all this head injury. So
yeah, I can see how that could be a really especially hard decision for your parents because it's also the last year that you'd play football in a meaningful way, unless you'd go and play in college. But for a lot of people, football ends in high school. And so to look at the relatively new research and then make that call and hold the line against the coach, it's, ballsy moves.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom, but my mom was, my mom's Italian and grew up to a New York Italian family and never had any qualms about barging into the school to talk to whoever she wanted to talk to about any subject. And she got her way 99% of the time.
Yeah, my mother-in-law's full Italian from Jersey. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah.
No, it's amazing. I love my mother-in-law and her family.
I'm just kidding because if she listened to this, I want her to know that I'm sure she's a fine lady.
She's not listening to this.
Okay, good.
I guarantee you.
All right.
Oh, man.
So hold on. So football, you're not a giant guy, but you're athletic clearly.
Or unclearly.
I go with clearly.
All right.
Then in the winter you wrestled.
Yes, sir.
What weight class were you?
I was when I wrestled in high school, I was 140.
140, and did you have to lose a lot of weight to get to 140?
I probably lost maybe 8 pounds or so, not a whole lot.
So were you doing crazy things like literally just drinking water, chewing bubble gum, but not swallowing saliva while you chewed bubble gum? That kind of stuff?
Sure. I mean, the big one was I had a buddy who his family was pretty into it. So over at their place, they had a pellet stove, and in front of the pellet stove, they put a treadmill. And you just get bagged up, put on a couple of trash bags, and get in front of that pellet stove and run your ass in the ground.
So the name of the game is to just dehydrate yourself to the point of
8 or 9 pounds of water weight. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Which really, I mean, compared to some of the stuff that the really high level guys do, is not bad at all. And I was pretty, I struggle to put on weight even when I want to, so I was pretty lean, and especially in high school, and there wasn't a whole lot of weight for me to lose. And
then how long before the match is the weigh-in?
I mean, most cases it's in the morning.
Oh, so you're dehydrated
the same day,
and then you have to rehydrate and get on the mat the same day?
Yeah, yep.
Oof, man.
But like I said, I wasn't losing a whole ton of. Is this mine?
Yeah, that's yours.
I wasn't losing a whole ton of water weight, just enough to get me down there. So I wasn't, in any kind of. I didn't have any health concerns or anything.
So wrestling's like a very individualized sport. It's you get on the mat and it's you, one other guy, and it's just raw physical. Who can outdo the other? What kind of stuff did you learn from that sort of sport?
I know I said I talked big about football, but wrestling I think is even more important to me in the way that I think about things. Wrestling was, first of all, dude, you're pretty much naked. You got your dude. I mean,
singlets are revealing. Yeah,
they're revealing. It leaves little to the imagination. You got your moose knuckle on full display. Everybody knows which way you lean. And you got to get out there in front of.
It's sanctioned by the school, right? And the conceivably like every adult that knows you, and you're out there basically naked.
Yeah. Well, not to mention all the girls from school who turn up to the meet. So, anyhow, wrestling was you kind of develop this mentality of, nobody can do it for you. And if you don't decide that you're going to make something happen, then it ain't going to happen. And I draw on that. I draw on that at work all the time. Nobody's going to do my job for me, so I have to just decide that it's going to get done somehow. The other half of that is that when you're on the mat standing across from somebody who's your same size, pretty much your same body composition, everybody's a wrestler there, especially when you get to high school, and everybody's aggressive and strong and generally knows how to wrestle. So you kind of you meet that resistance, and the word I keep going back to is decide. You just have to decide that you're going to impose your will, and whatever he has to say about it is just doesn't matter.
Yeah, bouncing from football to wrestling to lacrosse, you're learning a ton more than somebody who just does individual sports or just does team sports.
Oh, agreed. For sure. Yeah. For sure, because, football is so important to be able to work with other people without, nobody likes somebody on the football team who's got an attitude or who's like blaming other people, or, you learn to take your place in the line and do your job. And then the wrestling, like I said, it's, I think, more grit than anything you get from wrestling.
So are sports something that were kind of important in your formative years, and that you're just using the lessons from here on out, or are you trying to pursue sport in any way currently or throughout the rest of your life?
Sports now for me are more recreational than anything. Here's a hot take. Daniel and I do jiu-jitsu or did jiu-jitsu together. So,
Yep.
hopefully someday I'll not be a white belt, but, that these, I guess, self-defense and recreational aspects are the only pursuit I have with sports now.
Did you guys? I don't know if this is the right term or not. Spar.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah. Johnny was much better than me.
Okay.
This was a while ago though, and Daniel's been spending a lot more time on the mats than me. So I'm kind of afraid to get back in there with him now. To be honest, I don't want to tarnish my reputation.
I think I'm still up against that hold aside portion of it. I think I'm a very passive person on the mat, and if somebody falls into a submission, I take it, but I still struggle to be sparring with somebody and to impose my will.
Because you're a good guy, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough.
Or does that mean you're naturally better at countering somebody's attack or move?
What it's going to evolve into, if I keep going and I keep showing up to the mats, is that, I'll be good at sort of a come and get it and counter style rather than like a bulldozing, brute strength, I'm going to kick your ass style, which I think is more like Johnny's style. Not to say that there's no style or no, grace to what. To
there is no grace. There's no grace. I have no idea what I'm doing. It's that you nailed it.
Well, how different is jiu-jitsu than wrestling?
Extraordinarily. Well, I shouldn't say extraordinarily different because when you wrestle, you know how to grapple now, and you know how to not let somebody ragdoll you. In general, you learn how to be aggressive, and there's a lot of carryover, sure. But the big thing is getting used to laying on your back. Obviously, in folk style wrestling that you do in middle school or high school, whatever, your back is the worst place to be. That's how you lose. And whereas in jiu-jitsu, giving up your back and being on your stomach is the worst place to be. So there was an adjustment there. But I mean, by and large, even when you sign up for a tournament, there's sort of skill brackets that they'll put you into. Maybe the guy who's only been doing jiu-jitsu for 6 months goes into the novice category. If you've been on for 2 years or whatever, you go into the intermediate. So, and a lot of times when you're signing up, they'll say if you've ever wrestled in your life, even for a year, you have to do at least XYZ category, be it intermediate or beginner or whatever.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, I remember there was a brand new white belt at the gym, and he and I sparred. I only had 6 months of training, but he and I sparred. He didn't really know what he was doing, but he just pinned me. He just manhandled me and put me on my back and kept me there. And
he ragdolled you, it sounds like.
So,
almost.
Right. Yeah, pretty much. But in jiu-jitsu, you have to get the person to tap out to kind of end the sparring. And just putting me on my back, I could still breathe. I was still fine. And he hadn't been trained in any other way. But just the raw body mechanics and the way in which you can manipulate your body and others' bodies is something that wrestling, from experience, being wrestled, not wrestling myself, I can see that it's, pretty fundamental.
I'd agree with that assessment.
Yeah.
So did you graduate high school in New York?
Sure did.
Okay.
Yeah, went to Catholic high school. Like I said, the New York Italian mom, was responsible for our religious education. So, and did a lot to make it possible for us to go to Catholic high school. Us meaning me and my twin brother. So we graduated Notre Dame High School in Elmira, New York.
It's a solid name.
Yeah, it's they must have had some interesting legal help, I guess, because the logo is literally the Notre Dame University. Yeah.
Maybe the college doesn't know anything about the high school in near Ithaca.
Well, maybe it's free marketing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
If I'm Notre Dame University, name all the elementary schools you want after me.
This was a high school for one. And, and also they Notre Dame High School in Elmira, New York is I don't think much of a threat to Notre Dame University's brand. My graduating class was 48 students.
Wow.
So, yes, sir.
That's tiny.
Amazing.
Yeah. So in the public schools around there are the same way.
Wow. That's weird.
I guess for me, it's weird to think about a big graduating class.
Yeah. That's a fair point.
How many were in yours, Paul?
I went to a prep school, 70.
Okay.
But I would have gone to a school that maybe 300 to 400.
Yeah. That seems to be the norm.
Yeah, it's especially counties around here. That's how
Yeah.
big the high schools tend to
Yeah.
be. Maybe a little bit bigger in some cases.
Yeah.
And it's interesting living now that I live in Richmond. I never realized, even living in Baltimore, I guess I just didn't interact with enough people my age, or I don't know. I don't know what it was, but living in Richmond now, I realize just how rural my upbringing was.
Yeah, and the city of Richmond's not a big place. Richmond Metro is not a massive. It's not like Philly or
Right.
even Baltimore.
Right. Yeah. And I had a conversation, Daniel. This was this guy. We talked about he likes to hunt and grew up in Arlington, and he got made fun of in school or was like weird at school for hunting. And I was thinking to myself, that's pretty funny because my family didn't hunt, and we were the strange kids.
The only ones.
Yeah, we were the only ones.
Yeah, that's funny. So where'd you go to college?
Small Jesuit college called Lemoyne in Syracuse, New York.
Spell it.
Lemoyne is Lemoyne.
Okay, Lemoyne. And how did you choose that?
Capital M.
Capital M.
Yeah, it's got it.
Sorry, just wanted to throw that in there.
French action, yeah.
Yeah, well, there's a space in there, and yeah, it's French.
There's a space?
Yeah.
Dang. Okay.
The Moyne.
I need to update my mental
You
model.
dummy, yeah.
I'm such an idiot.
I'm sorry, Paul. What'd you ask me?
What did I ask you? Why'd you choose Lemoyne?
Oh, Lemoyne had a strong business program, or so so we perceived it to be. It was the dean of the school delivered a very good marketing speech when we went to visit, and that we took it really pretty much just based on that.
How far away was it from where you grew up?
Hour 45 minutes or so.
Okay, so far enough.
Far enough. Yeah.
Yeah. Did your twin go with you?
Sure did.
Oh, really? Y'all went together?
Yeah, we were roommates.
Is he in Richmond now?
He's not. He's in New York City now.
Okay, so you guys separated at some point.
We did, but not until he took this job and I took mine.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, we were together since we were negative. I like to say negative 9 months old, right up until after college.
Wow. That's crazy. I have no concept for what that's like.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'll tell you, it's the freaking best thing that ever happened to me.
Really?
Absolutely. The absolute greatest blessing I ever got in my life.
Tell us why.
I never had to go into anything and be alone. It's you got a built-in friend anywhere you go, and we just get along so well. We're very similar people, and we have our differences that make us work well together, and we're otherwise very similar personality-wise, etc. And it was like, we're just best friends. It was like being born knowing who your best friend is.
Do you talk to him every day?
Sure do.
Wow. That's cool.
Oh, it's real cool. It's great.
I've never even thought about it.
About having a
Maybe
twin.
I wish I had a twin.
Yeah.
And he's fraternal.
Yes, sir.
Or y'all are fraternal together.
Yeah.
Who's better looking?
Him by a good long margin.
Good answer.
He's smarter, better looking, and better with the ladies.
Has he been? Is he stuck up there in New York? Is he okay?
He's not. He's staying with my
on?
mom in Baltimore right now. He works for a big 4 accounting firm, and they have everybody working from home for God knows how long.
Yeah.
Maybe for longer than a year, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have nothing on the calendar for everybody to come back in the office.
Wow. So did you live in West Virginia at any point?
No, sir.
Or
Grandparents.
Okay.
Yep.
Your dad's side?
Yes, sir. That's right.
Okay.
Yep.
And so your dad, after your family settled or came through Ellis Island,
Yep.
did they land in the Ithaca area?
No. So the Croatian, my dad's side of the family, both Croatians, and that was my dad's grandparents came through Ellis Island, and I believe went straight to West Virginia.
Okay.
Just absolutely destitute, poor, no running water. Walked to church on Sundays. They were Croatian Catholics. And his grandfather worked in a quarry and got his leg blown off working with dynamite, and still walked to church both ways on Sunday. And the story I'm told, and God knows how true it is, but it was like several miles
Uphill both ways.
both ways in the snow in the summer. Yeah.
All right. So it sounds like your great-grandfather, your great-great-grandfather, is it great-great? Great-grandfather, went from New York to to West Virginia because there was work there.
That seems to be the case, and the house they lived in was provided by the quarry company or the mining company.
Okay, so they basically were recruited, kind of thing. Once they got close enough to know about that company.
That's my understanding.
Wow.
So
yeah, that's hard. That is hard.
Oh
living.
hell, yeah. And they had 10 kids. My granddad being one of them. And they used to. My dad told me that he used to love going to his grandparents' house in the summertime because he got to sleep outside.
Yeah.
A lot of the time they were sleeping outside. It wasn't a big place, 10 kids.
Yeah, you had to sleep outside. You couldn't fit all those folks in. Yeah.
Yep.
I've been to West Virginia a few times, and they're some of the finest people on earth, and we don't know how lucky we have it not living that hard of a life. Even now.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah. And really a lot of those, it's interesting to observe that a lot of those same, the economic situation in upstate New York is fucking horrible. I shouldn't say it that way, but it's not good. It's not a rich area, and a lot of the issues that they have in West Virginia are, identical to what I saw growing up.
Right.
So, things like, general unemployment or, underemployment or, things like teen pregnancy or, meth labs or, just kind of all those pitfalls that, a subpar economy does to a rural area, does all the same stuff in upstate New York.
Yeah. It does it across the Midwest and rural parts of the East Coast, for sure.
Yep.
I don't know what, before people started coal mining or just quarrying in general, I don't know what attracted folks to West Virginia other than there was just a lot of land to be had. But it was mountainous and it was rough land. I guess most people that live there can trace their roots back to people being drawn to mining or doing quarrying. I don't know that West Virginia has a different history.
I don't know. They do have a very rich musical tradition. I don't know if it's tied in with the mining, but the old time music and the
there's some overlap there for sure.
Well, and another thing about the like mountainous land is back in the day that land was cheap. Yeah. So a lot of poor people ended up just on that's where they could afford to live because the good flat arable land would have been further east.
Yeah, and people were consolidating that, either corporations or people with a lot of means, and a lot of people who couldn't afford to live there got pushed west.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I've heard of these like mining towns where the mining company has its own currency, and the people live in like your great grandfather mining company supported housing. Was that this situation? Do you know with your great grandparents? The currency being from the like basically a complete full on lock in with their employer. Like there wasn't really an option to leave.
I really couldn't say. Once your dwelling is dependent on your company, and they couldn't afford to go get anything else. And I don't know how creditworthy he was, or I don't know what it was like trying to get a mortgage in West Virginia in the
early
20th century somewhere. Yeah. I don't know. I really don't know. They my dad always tells me that they had a store down the street somewhere that he used to go to get candy, and they could only go to that store because that's what would give him credit for. I guess it was something else about the mining company that they could make some connection between his wages and his debts at the store.
Right. So then, how did your parents end up meeting?
At work. Xerox. My dad was worked in Xerox service for 30 some odd years, and my mom, she what was her job? I believe at the time she was working in sales for Xerox. So they ended up needing to. They brushed shoulders at work at some point and got in touch, and that's how they met.
Nice.
And this is up in New York.
This is in Maryland.
Maryland.
Yes, sir. So after West Virginia for my grandparents, they moved to Maryland, Southern Maryland, and my dad grew up in a place called District Heights at a time when, and it's really still not that great, but at a time when District Heights was pretty nasty. This is southeast of Washington, D.C. And my mom grew up in PG County, Maryland, a place called Bowie.
Yep.
And when I was born, we lived in Charles County in a town called Waldorf.
Okay, so you were born in Maryland.
Yes, sir. Well, Washington, D.C.
Oh, in D.C.
Yes, sir. And lived in Waldorf, Maryland until I was around 2.
Yeah, Bowie has a double-A baseball team, I think.
You're dang right.
Yeah.
You're dang, the Bowie Bay Sox, baby.
yeah.
Come on. Wait a minute. How do you know that?
Because I maybe have driven to Atlantic City more than once in my life, and I take 301 to get there.
Oh, got it.
Yeah,
301's a good drive, too.
Yeah, it's a better drive than going 95.
Amen. Well, you go right through Waldorf then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So that's okay. So I kind of knew where you were as a little kid.
There you go.
When did you guys move to New York?
I was about 2. My dad moved us up there for work.
Okay. Nice.
He was, I guess I don't want to go into too many details about this, but he was having a hard time getting promotions that he felt he deserved, and moved up to New York, and things started working out better for him.
Okay. Yeah. Well, why? Yeah, that's a good move. You should do that.
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself a New Yorker or a Marylander?
I guess somewhere in between. We, all of my friends and everything growing up was all in New York, but all my family was elsewhere. And we, every holiday, every vacation, every 3-day weekend, we'd be in either West Virginia or Maryland.
Nice.
So
The DMV.
Close.
the DMVW.
I had a question. I forgot.
No, hold on. We're not walking away from DMV that quickly. What do you think DMV stands for?
Delaware, Maryland, Virginia.
Oh, God. Damn.
Yeah, no, we weren't talking about Delaware, were we?
Paul,
No,
help.
we weren't.
Yeah, I'm trying, man.
I don't know. I think
I haven't given you grief about U.S. geography in a while, so we don't have to stay here very long. But
I thought I could throw out like a lightweight acronym and just have you guys
play with it for a while.
No, just acknowledge like Daniel's a valid member of the conversation, and then we can move on. But you had to get hung up on it.
You are.
yeah,
Dude.
For the record, Daniel and I are good buddies.
Yes.
We've known each other for a few years now.
And you've told me before how hard of a worker your dad is, and I'd like you to talk a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Sure. My dad, especially when I was real little and we were still in Maryland, my dad got up. He was working in service as a tech rep for Xerox, and technical representative, just meaning he went and got his hands dirty working on machines. And he would do that all day and then come home at night. And he had bought himself an ice cream truck at one point, so he was, running his own business.
the original side hustle.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, nice.
Yes, sir. And so he would do that until God knows what hour of the night, and then come back, count the money, do the books, take inventory and all that kind of stuff, and sleep for 4 or 5 hours and then do it all again.
Wow.
And just was, incredibly diligent my whole life. I remember every Saturday I'd wake up and he was banging away on his keyboard, running spreadsheets or, crunching numbers or whatever he had to be doing for work. And my dad, I'm real proud of my dad. He came from, his dad didn't have running water, and my dad was a vice president of service for the Northeast for Xerox Corporation.
Yeah,
when he
he's
retired.
a fantastic example for you, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. He was a good dad, real good, and good example, yeah.
Well, I, as we mentioned, I met your dad. You two clearly have a good relationship.
We do.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
So I imagine that you've carried some of that ethic into the line of work that you've chosen to pursue.
Absolutely not.
Oh, man.
I like to think that I do justice to my dad's work ethic, and I know he's proud of what I've been able to arrange so far. But like I said, I think everybody can always do better.
Yeah.
Yeah, the minute you think you can't do better, you get lazy and bad things come.
Agree. Yeah, and I'm at a point with my company and my career now that I was given my first promotion last last winter, kind of fall time, and I'm starting to take on more responsibility, and I think the story is growth, I guess, and today, for example, I just had my first actual role in a pitch, talking to a company out of New Jersey, and they just gave me some kind of financial slides overview to walk the client through, but it was a big deal to me, and it's the first time I've ever been allowed to do that. So
Yeah, you're learning.
I definitely am, and I think I do my best to stay hungry, I guess, and like I said, do justice to my progenitors.
Are there any other role models that you look up to?
Not necessarily family, but generally.
Sure. My mom, and something that I think about often is, this doesn't have to do with career anymore, but family. And my mom stayed home, like I said to you earlier, and it's that has colored my view of what I want my family to be like, I guess. I want to be around enough that I can get to games like my dad did. And, I want my wife to stay home and have her job be make good people. And, everybody says this and it's kind of getting hackneyed now, but I think that stay-at-home moms aren't given enough credit. And I think that they have the most important job in society. So anyways, I look up to my mom. My mom is my role model in the sense that she was able to hold a lot of shit together at the same time between the house and some various other things she was doing. Like she started a community center in our small town. She held together everything at home. She dealt with my dad's shit and dealt with our shit. And, I just, we were never lacking for love in our house, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember her telling me a story of going door to door in Baltimore in one of those little cute little districts and just trying to sell something to the people in that store. And I remember thinking, God, if I had to do something like that, I would just die of anxiety.
Dude, she's incredible. She's incredible. And really, like any door knocking, pavement pounding salesperson is incredible just from the balls that they have.
Yeah.
And my mom's good at it too. So it's like, it's extra impressive.
Yeah.
What's she doing now?
She's still working in sales. She works for Canon, and she, copiers are what she knows from back in the day, and she sells, copiers, equipment, and software.
So she's still a baller.
She's still a damn baller, man.
Yeah, nice.
And yep.
And she got a cat, 2 cats.
A cat.
A cat.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Her name is Talia.
Gosh, I'm missing everything.
But that's all right, dude. Swing and a miss, baby. But we call her Tally.
Tally, that's right.
And your mom's not a cat lady because I think the rule is you have to have 3 or more to be a cat lady.
That's right.
I guess she's not a cat lady, but she spoils this cat enough that you would think she is.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's like I think she maybe wanted one more kid and just ended up with this cat.
Oh.
So
your point around stay-at-home moms and having really tough jobs. Yeah. My wife stayed at home for a while, and there would be times where she would have to go do something else. She would go see friends out of town or whatever, and I had to be dad for a couple of days.
Sure.
And I'm like, oh, this is brutal. This is so hard.
Oh, yeah.
And she was doing it all the time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so shout out to every mom out there for sure.
We love you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And shout out to my mom, too, because she had to raise my sister and me. God love her.
So let's wildly switch topics here. I'm not trying to be intentional about anything here, but so you're putting together a firearm in order to go hog hunting. So let's talk to us first about the hog hunting scene in the U.S.
Yeah, and look, I'm not an expert, but I'll tell you what I know about it is that hogs are an invasive species, particularly in the southeast. I guess in south central as well, like in Texas. And you can, for anybody that doesn't know, you can sign up to, usually go hog hunting for free on farmers' property who, hogs are tearing up their crops or whatever, or terrorizing animals, or, if you get, my understanding is that an aggressive hog can kill a pet or, hurt it. And so anyway, they just tear shit up and people want them gone. So, you can shoot at them from helicopters. You can you can put, I know, dude. It's
extreme hog hunting.
Hog genocide, man. And, you can put out feed for them and just wait till they all come over. And
you can just super cheat.
Yeah.
To do whatever you need to do to attract them in.
Well, you're the predator, right? And they're invasive because they lack a natural predator.
Yeah. And I like bacon, dude.
Oh, do you get to take home what you kill?
Sure, you can eat them, yeah.
Okay.
Is it the same as domestically raised?
I've heard that it's a little bit different, but it's still pretty tasty.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Probably a little bit more muscular and less fatty.
A little sinewy.
A little sinewy, yeah.
Yeah, is that how you say that?
Sinewy?
Oh my gosh, you too. Sinewy.
Sinewy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's
you're going to give us the Egyptian pronunciation.
Yeah, you turd. Well, you should never make fun of somebody. Here's something. You might see this on your Instagram. You should never make fun of somebody for mispronouncing a word because it means that they learned it by reading.
Ah.
And we all know Paul's not a reading man.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm really not much of a reader.
Yeah.
Two syllables is my max.
Yeah.
Normally.
No, and I'm not either. And I keep trying to read books, and it just
just doesn't stick, dude.
No.
It just,
although Daniel just got me a copy of Anna Karenina.
yeah.
So we'll
I
see
saw that in a store. I don't know why it reminded me of you. I just thought Johnny would love this.
Dude, you know that I'm Roski literature is up in my wheelhouse.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, you can hunt hogs pretty much any way, dude. And I'm building an AR-10 chambered in 3. Well, I think it's gonna be chambered in 308. I'm still looking at 6.5 Creedmoor, but anyway,
you decided to build a gun specifically because you already have other firearms.
That's right. Yeah.
So what about this one's different?
So this, it's a freaking clobbering cartridge, the 308. And
can you break down what a 308 means for non-initiated?
Yeah, it's a full. It's what you call a full size cartridge. So if you think about like the scary AR-15, God, I'm getting political here. If you think about the AR-15 chambered in 223 or 5.56 NATO is it's freaking probably at least 3 or 4.
It's tiny.
It's tiny.
Yeah, it's not a big bullet.
Yeah, so it's probably at least. The bullet itself is probably like, I don't know, what's an AR round, like 55 grain, and then a 308 round is what, like, I don't know, 120 or something.
It's not small.
Anyway, so
I've never
grain
bought,
is a unit of measurement?
Yeah, it's weight.
Weight, okay.
So, the 308 round is a good bit bigger than the AR-15 5.56 or 223 round. So, it's enough to take down a much larger animal.
Are the numbers like 308, 223, 5.6 also weight related?
Those are circumference or diameter measurements.
5.56 millimeters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then 0.308 inches?
That's right. And 223, same thing. It's inches.
Okay.
You call.
Love it.
308 is 7.62?
Yeah,
NATO?
7.62 NATO. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I remember that 308 and 7.62 are interchangeable.
Because your roommate has a FAL.
He does. Yeah. The 308 has a bigger, it's a fat bullet.
Yeah, it's fat and it's it's long too. It's a big bullet. It's a
big
powerful
boy.
cartridge.
It's bigger in every way.
Yeah.
And
223.
When you have wild animals running at you, it's the kind of bullet you want.
Yeah, I'd say so.
I'm guessing it has better stopping power.
Yeah,
Sure.
So, and is there an element of personal danger when you hunt hogs? Like, could they hurt you? Do you need to bring like a commando knife in case they get your gun or something like that?
I haven't heard of them seizing weapons from people, but
their hooves aren't very adept to that sort of thing.
If it's close quarters,
I think you're
you might
throwing
want to whip a
elbows
buck
and
knife.
punches. Maybe.
well, if you're clearing rooms with hogs in there, maybe you bring one. But apart from that,
if you're surrounded by walls and you're accompanied by lots of hogs, yes.
Maybe you guys don't appreciate how quickly a hog can close a distance.
Do you know something we don't know?
No,
people do bring pistols, man. The conventional wisdom suggests that you should have a pistol with you in case you get a jam or something and one's charging you, because they will hurt you. They're big and powerful and they got tusks and shit. So
yeah.
How much do they weigh?
Oh hell, I don't know.
Like half a ton? Are they that big?
I feel like maybe like 600-800 pounds or something is a big one.
Yeah.
And so,
I'm for the record, I'm talking out my ass. I don't know the actual.
It's okay. You're an expert among us three.
Daniel and I talk out of our asses all the time.
Okay, good.
It's like I still don't know why we're doing this.
Yeah.
But so you didn't hunt when you were a kid, and now you decided to go chase hogs.
Yeah.
So what's the what drew you to hunting, having not done it as a kid?
I guess thinking back, it feels like I missed out on something. I guess. All my buddies did it, and you go over to the kids' houses who I grew up with, and there was deer hanging from the porch or whatever, all cut open, bleeding into a bucket and everything, and the dogs are all running around excited about it and shit. It's a whole culture thing, and I feel like I don't know. I've been getting in touch with my countryside, I guess, since living in the city, ironically, and I feel like being in the woods a little bit, I guess.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Would you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
Introvert, easily.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I think introverts are attracted to spending quality alone time in the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a hunter on the show a while ago, and I asked him, isn't
We
it nice?
can say his name, Andrew Malk. Yes.
Andrew, if you're listening,
He'll
I'm
love
surprised.
this. He will listen to this entire Johnny episode because I'll tell him we said his name.
Andrew, and don't make fun of me if I got the weight of the hog wrong, man.
Yeah. Andrew will be checking for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I was asking.
I'm embarrassed.
I asked him, isn't it nice to get out and just escape from like the world and be in nature and technology and just be mindful? And then he said, yeah, actually, I'm checking my phone all the time when I'm up in the tree stand. And sometimes he even missed the deer. He didn't even see it.
Like a deer would go by from like 20 feet away.
Yeah. So.
And I feel like I'd have a harder time shooting a deer compared to a hog because a hog feels like it seems like they're just assholes.
They do seem like assholes, and they don't have a natural predator, which I learned tonight, other than man.
Well, they
Right.
maybe like coyotes or other things that also prey on children that we therefore eliminated.
Yeah. Well, I
Or
don't know.
mountain lions, probably
Right.
chisel hogs.
Chisel
But-
hogs, huh?
Sorry.
What's a chisel hog?
Don't be a freak, dude.
Is
Is this thing close?
this back to chiseling?
you're doing great,
The
dude.
chiseling crap with
Yeah, it's
sock we're talking about?
chiseling. It's a verb.
But you said chisel hog.
Yeah, no, mountain lions, chisel, hogs.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't want to talk about chiseling.
All right, let's not go there.
Paul, look at this millennial, dude.
Can't stand him.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, so we kind of
So-
just blew by the whole he's making a gun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Let's talk about that.
yeah, man. So yeah, I'm building an AR-10, and it's going to be in that flat dark earth, that tan color.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying. I'm pretty excited about the way it's looking. It's so right now I've got the receivers together. I've got a bolt carrier, grip, fire control group, and everything. I still need a stock barrel, gas tube, and handguard.
So where are you getting the parts from?
Some parts come from online and some from Green Top.
Okay.
And Green Top is awesome. For anybody that doesn't know what Green Top is, man,
If you're a hunter and you like guns and you're on the East Coast, you know what Green Top is.
This episode is sponsored by.
I know Green Top.
They don't need it.
Cough
trust
it
me,
up, boys.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah,
I'll talk to them.
dude, they have everything. You go in and you want they had an AR-10 308 charging handle that I bought.
Just
I mean,
cause.
Which is an
Yeah.
obscure part.
Sort of obscure. But you can buy everything down. I feel like you can get everything down to pins in there or springs or whatever. They just have everything. It's awesome.
So the framework, the Armalite, like what AR stands for is Armalite rifle.
Right.
And from what I understand, it's a framework that allows people to put guns together like Lego parts. There's a very standardized specification, and things are very interchangeable. Even from different companies, you can put together a gun.
That's true of the AR-15 platform, chambered in 5.56 NATO. The 308 AR-10 apparently is not so much that way, and I'm learning that the hard way because you have to be very careful about getting parts that fit with each other. And a lot of times it's got to be they highly recommend. I don't know who they is, but it's highly recommended that you get receivers, for example, receivers that are from the same company so that they fit flush.
Because there's a lot of stress that happens to a gun when bullets are fired in it. It's a huge amount of you're literally exploding a little thing every time you shoot a bullet.
A little thing, man. And and it's
A little bomb.
look, and you don't want you don't want too much play between your upper and lower receiver when you're trying to shoot. It's I guess apart from accuracy, it just. I don't know if there's I honestly don't know if there's a safety concern with that issue or not. But anyway, there's parts that don't fit each other across the different manufacturers in the 308 or AR-10 space.
Yeah. Is there anything that putting a gun together has taught you that you had a misconception about beforehand?
No, but it's really fun.
I love it,
I
man.
learned about how fun it was. Think about a car guy, and he likes to sit in his garage and dick with his car and make it loud or make it quiet or make it do this or that thing or make it look different. You can do the same thing with this type of gun. And just the mechanical aspect of seeing how everything fits together and taking it from springs and pins and, just pieces of metal really, to making it look like a gun is really exciting to me.
And how much longer do you think you have before it's functional?
The question is not time; it's more a question of money.
Oh, really?
And, oh yeah, I think all up and all in, like pre-optic, when I have it done, it's going to be probably like a $1,500 gun.
Pre-optic, and with the optic, another.
I mean, at least another few $100s.
Yeah.
I guess I haven't decided what all I'm going to do about it yet, and I'm still learning about optics. So
2G.
2G at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of time.
And, a good amount of time, but time well spent.
Yeah, you're enjoying it.
Very much so.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Very cool. So are you going to go get a hog with it?
I'm going to try to. I had a plan. I had a place picked out, or I had a prospect, I guess I should say, of somebody who was in need of people to help with a hog issue on his property. But it looks like that line has broken. So if you know anybody who's who
Where was it? Where was the prospect?
This was around Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay.
So to all our faithful listeners, if you know of anybody that has invasive hogs on their property, or invasive anything else for that matter,
Go to podso1.io and talk to us.
Please,
Yeah.
God, yeah.
and
Or honestly, if just as a quick announcement, like if you have property in Virginia or elsewhere where maybe somebody wants to go shoot their new gun or something like that, please, holler at me.
yeah, I mean it would be compensated too. I mean,
I would not pay a dime for it, but no, I would.
I'll pay for Johnny
Daniel,
to go
yeah.
shoot on your land.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, I got you, man. All right, so let's talk about this series of exams that, that you're
sounds
taking
brutal.
in order to become a CFA, which stands for chicken fried asshole.
Asparagus.
Asparagus, man.
Asparagus,
That actually, holy shit.
Chicken fried asparagus. Yeah.
Is that actually real?
No. Probably.
Paul, you might-
It actually probably is.
Daniel, can you look that up while I talk to Paul for a minute?
Paul's on this phone already.
Okay.
No, I'm looking up.
Johnny, you look it up.
I'm the guest, dude. I
the
can't
guest.
be on my
That's
phone.
He is the guest.
We can't do that to Johnny.
No, well, it's
sorry.
disrespectful if I'm on my phone.
Episode 11. We'll hook you up with episode 11.
Allow me
Andrew
to
Malk.
apologize.
Thank you.
And he probably has some answers for you.
Andrew, please, God, man, give me a call.
Yeah.
Andrew's the connection.
Oh, he's
He'll do
definitely
it.
listening now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The CFA exams, it stands for the Chartered Financial Analyst Program.
Yep.
And you have to be careful about how you talk how you talk about it, because there are some sort of stringent guidelines for how you're allowed to use the name CFA. Like one of the ethics rules is that you can't, if you're writing your name on some kind of professional form or something, you can't underline or hyphenate or make bold the CFA letters. They have to be in the same exact text as your name.
Wow.
Just for example, I mean, so that's how much I guess they care about how you use the name.
Seems
they don't-
very particular.
They don't want people putting, I'm a CFA, and making it big and like green in Comic Sans.
And you're not allowed to say I am a CFA. You can only say I am a CFA charter holder.
Or could you just put the 3 letters after your name?
You could.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. But it's got to be in the same text,
In the same font and everything?
same font, same.
Okay. So what is the motivation to get this Chartered Financial Analyst status, charterhood?
Yeah, the original motivation for me was working on breaking into investment banking, and I thought it'd be something worth having not come from a target school. Target school meaning a Princeton or a Harvard or a Stanford.
Where they recruit all their rookies.
Yeah, I was just places where all the banks will do their on-campus recruiting. No investment banker is coming to Lemoyne College in Syracuse, New York, to do recruiting. So when you come from a background like mine, you kind of have to backdoor it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So the CFA exam or designation, I should say, was part of the plan to get in.
Okay, and you're in the industry working right now.
Yes, sir.
But you're still chasing it down. You've taken one of the exams.
2,
2 now. And how many are there total?
3.
Okay.
One more.
And so what is the body of knowledge that becoming CFA provides?
The body of knowledge itself, or the exam material, varies between the different levels. There's levels 1, 2, and 3, obviously. So, level 1 is more about just being able to use formulas and use your noggin to think through sort of one-dimensional financial, statistical, economic problems. Level 2, it becomes a little more there's a little more depth, I guess, and you may be presented with something, let's say you're looking at a equity valuation issue, but you also need to know something about accounting to figure it out, or you have to make adjustments to the financials you're given before it makes sense. Or anyway, but
you have to draw on like multiple disciplines or areas.
Yes, and all I'm saying is that the levels become increasingly more multidimensional until you're equipped to understand or learn through most financial issues that you'd run. I mean, and not financial as in like what credit card should I get or something, more of, theoretical or practical issues you'd run into in the professional finance world.
So is it equipping you, for example, to look at a company and look at its details and say, this company will make money or this company won't?
Well, when you figure out how to do that, or when I figure out how to do that, I'll give you a call. We can automate my trading strategy, and we'll become fucking bazillionaires. But until then, look, that's part of the idea. Yeah, you're supposed to be able to, intelligently perform a fundamental analysis of a company, make intelligent projections that are informed by historical and future data, and make value or cash flow estimates, really.
Yeah.
But it's it's never anything more than an estimate, obviously, in this world.
And if you're accurate 65-70% of the time within 5% of what you predicted, you're doing really, really well.
Oh God.
Yeah.
The difference between having a Lemoyne College grad and a Lemoyne College grad with a CFA charter hood in the room is
Charter holder.
Well, okay,
Charter hood, is that one or two words?
it's one word. It's like
Like you're in the hood, baby. But
it's like neighborhood. It's like no.
Oh, I hear what you're saying now.
Yeah.
Don't be a
It's like,
dork.
it's like a neighborhood that only charter holders live in.
No, I'm trying to think of another word that ends in hood.
Come on, try getting it out.
I'm really trying, dude.
It's probably not worth it. at this point.
Livelihood.
Try getting it out.
Yeah, livelihood is probably getting closer.
No, it's an adjective. It's a noun. It's it's not coming.
That's all right. It'll come to you.
I will. I'll burst out with it in the middle of the conversation.
Please do, you autist.
See, I can't even keep up with Johnny, dude.
Dude, yeah, you can.
Oh, man.
I'm slow as shit. Yeah, the difference between a Lemoyne College grad with and without the charter is meaningful, yeah. It really depends on where you're at, too. My firm places, a lot of emphasis on professional designations like that, and the CFA, the CFA charter is meaningful there. At a place like, your Goldmans or your JP Morgans or Morgan Stanleys or, Perella Weinberg or any other, like extraordinarily highly reputable, what they call bulge bracket or elite bank, it doesn't mean much to them because they're just they would rather have the Harvard grad than the Lemoyne grad with the CFA.
Yeah. How hard was the first test or exam?
The first exam was stressful but not difficult, I think.
Did you know that going into it, that it wasn't going to be that hard?
No. It's when you're in the moment, it feels hard as hell because it's 6 months of studying, writing on one exam where you go in and it's all up and all in. It's like 8 hours of ass in seat exam taking.
Like 4 hours, then a break, and then 4 hours?
It's 3 and 3, but all the time you got to spend in the room getting the fucking rules read, getting the rules read at you, and just the entire pomp and circumstance around it. It's a full day of misery.
Yeah, it sounds miserable.
And it's when you go in. I took my first one in National Harbor in Washington D.C. Or I guess that's actually PG County, Maryland.
It's Maryland, yeah.
Yeah. So this is at the Gaylord Hotel, and in the bottom, like sort of basement level, they've got this enormous, like airplane hangar size.
Yeah, it's huge.
Whitewash room.
Yeah.
And it's all white everything.
Yeah.
And it feels like being in like a Soviet era biological experiment or something. Because you go in and there's a guy standing at the front, and he's got a microphone because there's about 60,000 other people behind you taking it. And I'm exaggerating. There's a lot of people, though. It's a full airplane hangar of people.
Huge.
It's huge, man. So and he gets up at the podium and he starts telling you like all this kind of weird shit and saying like you're now subject to the jurisdiction of the CFA Institute, and you're like, oh God, what is he going to do to me? And you're like, but anyway, it
sounds like a cult almost.
It's weird, man. It's real weird. So, but it's extraordinarily uncomfortable to do, and I'm glad that level 1 is over. Level 2 is not so bad in Richmond. You do it in like a hotel banquet room.
You don't need a huge initiation for that.
No, it was way more relaxed too. It was a better experience, yeah. But level 2 was freaking hard as shit. It's horrible.
And what do you think level 3 is going to be like?
Hard as shit and horrible.
All right.
Yeah. The debate is between level 2 and 3 about which is hardest. Level 1 is generally a rehash of what you learn in undergrad finance school.
Oh, okay.
And 3 compared to 1, you think is just like otherworldly kind of difference?
2 compared to 1 is otherworldly.
Wow.
Yeah. 2 is kind of heavier emphasis on modeling and valuation. And 3 is more emphasis on portfolio management, which ironically I don't do any of. But to get the charter, you got to take it.
So no practical application before you take the test.
Not for me in the field of work that I'm in right now. But things change, and I've never thought that I would regret going through it with all 3 levels, taking it, getting the charter, and it's like the body of knowledge. Honestly, is more or less the equivalent of like a master's degree in finance, except you have to teach it all to yourself, and it's a lot cheaper. So.
Yeah. A ton cheaper.
A ton cheaper.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that it's something that anybody who is working or aspires to work in the finance industry, I mean, I don't see it being useless to anybody.
Unless they went to Harvard and had the money to get a Harvard MBA or Stanford or
but if that's you, you're a dork. So, no, but I still think that they would learn. I think that they would benefit just intrinsically from the learning you do in the CFA curriculum, in addition to whatever they learned in their fancy school.
Right.
Yeah.
Can only help.
Yeah.
Sounds like. Hey, so we're transitioned to the banjo. How'd you pick that up?
I picked up the banjo after I saw Willie Nelson live with my dad.
How long ago was that?
This was in, I want to say 2013 or 14.
Yeah, he's still doing it too, right?
He is, man. He's like 4 million years old.
He is not young at all.
No. And he's, I hope this doesn't age poorly, but he doesn't look that good or sound that good anymore.
It happens, right? As you get older, your voice goes. And
yeah.
Yeah.
But he was still holding on to it when we saw him. And but anyway, the opening act was Alison Krauss in Union Station.
Oh, come on.
God almighty. I couldn't believe that they were opening for somebody. So
only Willie can get them to open.
Yeah.
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 Willie's the only one.
Yeah.
You're lucky to see that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if we'd have gone out and that was the only thing we saw, I'd have been more than happy.
Oh, of course.
And I didn't know about them at the time.
Are they still together? I think they are.
I think they at least play together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, I'd go see him again if you want to go.
Heck yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Let's do it. So anyway, Ron Block on the banjo, man, tearing that sucker up, and I said, "This is it." And that was the itch, and I think maybe 2 years later, year or two after that, I went and bought myself my first banjo.
Nice. So 2015, 2016, you picked it up?
15. Yep.
And you're self-taught?
Yes, sir.
So did you play by ear?
By ear and by computer.
Okay.
Yeah.
By YouTube.
YouTube is yeah.
Yeah, and there are different styles of banjo too.
There are different styles.
So which ones? Talk us through them.
I'll talk you through them, man. There's there's banjo snobs out there that'll tell you that there's more than 2 kinds, but I'm going to tell you there's 2 kinds. There's old time style of banjo and bluegrass style banjo. And I'm generalizing, but bluegrass style banjo, you play with 3 fingers, your thumb, your index, your middle finger. You wear picks on them, and you play arpeggios and fast notes in the sort of typical like Earl Scruggs style of banjo that you hear, that you think of when somebody says banjo. Mm-hmm. Old time style banjo is more muted, more mellow. It's quieter, less obnoxious, and it's horrible. No, it's not. I like both, but anyway, it's the main sort of technique is called claw hammer, which involves the hammer part being the back of your nail on either your first or second finger, kind of striking down, hammering down on the string, and the claw part is your thumb drones on a high fifth string.
So thumb's dedicated just to the fifth string.
That's generally yes, but there's a technique called drop thumb where you drop your thumb down onto other strings as well.
But you got to have a lot of time with the banjo to be able to perfect that.
It's harder than a regular, like what you call bum ditty, claw hammer sort of playing, but it's not the hardest thing ever to do.
You played with Daniel plenty of times. Does Daniel change instruments all the time?
Daniel plays a little bit of everything, man.
Yeah, I'm a serial monogamist.
No, I don't think that's what you meant to say.
Maybe
Serial cheater, maybe.
Yeah, polygamist.
Yeah, polygamist is the word.
That doesn't. I don't like the way that
Musical
sounds.
polygamist?
Let's
Well, just to
run that back.
Virginia.
No, with instruments. With instruments.
Yeah.
So yes, yeah. No, we played at the farmers market, south of James Farmers Market is probably where the bulk of our time together has been.
Right.
And it's just some of the best times I think I've ever had. Those Saturday mornings.
That's going to happen again, right?
It
At
will.
some point.
Presumably.
The market's happening. I think I haven't really inquired as to us playing again.
I can't wait for it to open up.
But yeah, no, it's just getting out there at 7:30 and with the cool morning air and playing and having kids dance to us playing. Like,
Yeah.
it's just some of the best stuff.
Can't beat it with a stick, baby.
Yeah, really. So
I've been there once, and Daniel, you were playing, and you were there with a guy with a really big white beard.
Bobby Joe.
Yeah, Bobby Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bobby Joe's he's a chaplain at a local prison, or that's what he tells me. And he goes and he helps people come to Jesus and find their recovery. And Saturday mornings, once a month, he's out there playing, and he puts out a bunch of crappy instruments, and the kids come up and
they love it.
They just play. Yeah, they love it. And he's always like, "Great job!" And he switches songs halfway through, switches keys, makes up lyrics. It's pretty fun to try to follow him. Just like try to make it sound good.
All right, so what we owe you as one of our guests is getting you a place to shoot your gun that you're making.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
I think we
And,
can do that.
Yeah,
and somebody who
and
plays the
royalties.
mandolin. And royalties, yeah.
You need a mandolin player?
Yes, sir.
I don't think I can help you with that.
Okay.
I love the mandolin.
We might have. I
We do
don't
too.
know.
You would have better access to a mandolin player than I would.
Yeah, listeners, if you know any mandolin players, go to podso1.io.
And you would need them in the Richmond area.
Yeah, although, I mean, like, we'll track a little bit.
You could do it virtually, I guess.
We
for
could do
a
it
while.
virtual, social distance mandolin.
Yeah.
Coronavirus.
Nice.
Well, cool. I think. I mean, I think that's pretty good, right?
Yeah, man. It's an hour,
woo!
hour and a half. yeah.
Did I just bloviate for an hour and a half?
You didn't. It was all of us bloviating, dude.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
a huge
you're right.
word.
That's not a huge word for you. For me, it's a huge word.
For me, it's a huge word.
is.
That's,
Yeah.
that's the top shelf word that
Yeah, that's as big as I go.
More than two.
probably.
It's more than two syllables, so it's
Which is-
bigger.
yeah, I mean, there are exceptions to my 2-syllable thing.
God almighty.
Yeah.
But dude, it's been so great to talk to you and hear your story. There's stuff I didn't know about you that I learned today. So
Yeah, we love it when that happens.
Hey,
Yeah.
well, I'm sorry to hear that. It's I'll do my best to help you repress the memory. I won't bring it up. But I appreciate y'all having me, man. And it's I guess I see myself as pretty unremarkable. So to have two guys ask you to come
No,
to come
dude.
talk for this long is it's a real treat.
One thing I learned about you, and I echo the fact that it's a treat because it's a treat for us every time we have somebody on.
Yep.
But your wit is really quick.
You think so?
Oh my gosh!
Oh
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
That's it's not true, but I appreciate it nonetheless. I'll do my best to accept it with grace.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
all good, man. No, glad we could have you on.
Well, much appreciated, man. I was glad to be here.
all right. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to subscribe through whichever app you're using. To share your thoughts, head over to our website at podso1.io, and there you can comment on episodes or send us feedback directly. Thanks for listening.